The speaker in this video will talk about the modern economy. The economic system, according to the vision of the market economy of modern Western society, is the network of interdependencies and interconnections between operators or economic subjects that carry out the activities of production, consumption, exchange, work, savings, and investment to satisfy individual needs and make maximum profit, optimizing the use of resources, avoiding waste, and increasing individual productivity while also reducing labor costs. This is the definition of how the modern economic system works, but this is only the definition that is taught in schools and universities. The modern economy works completely differently. The modern economy is sustained by creating the problem and providing the solution. This economic model of creating the problem and providing the solution is the economic system that makes the West still the richest geographic area. Without this type of economic model, the West economy would have gone into crisis decades ago. Creating the problem and giving the solution means that politicians make laws or behave that cause problems for their citizens or for foreign nations. This system of creating the problem works both nationally and internationally. At the national level, new laws are being made and new rules introduced to ensure that citizens are forced to spend money to comply with these laws or regulations. This money ends up in the coffers of the multinationals, as they are almost always the ones who provide the means to comply with these new laws. Let's take, for example, what is happening with the green revolution in the automobile industry. There are contributions for each state for the purchase of electric cars. There have been states that will ban the use of any other cars than electric after 2035. Everything seems positive, but only superficially. But that is another story. My point is this: combustion vehicles pollute and irreparably damage our planet. But those who produce these combustion vehicles are the same multinationals that are now called to produce electric cars. So, the same multinationals that created the pollution problem now giving the solution with the creation of electric cars. This is what the speaker means. Multinationals got rich when they sold traditional cars, which at the same time create a problem: pollution. Now the same multinationals are solving the problem with electric cars, and in the same way they will continue to get rich. But in reality, electric cars do not solve the pollution problem. They only pollute in a different way. 30 years from now, this new type of pollution will create new problems, and the multinationals themselves will be called upon to solve the problem in order to get rich again. This is the only system by which the West economy can survive. It does not work like this just for the automotive multinationals, but every sector of our economy works like this. Let's take the multinationals that produce armaments. The connection between politicians and the multinationals that produce arms is very close. Funding for political parties by armament producing multinationals is the highest. The politicians worry about creating the problem, while the multinationals that produce armaments provide a solution. Western politicians, with their unscrupulous international policies and with no respect for the ideas and costume of others, put the military weaker foreign states in a position not to accept this type of behavior, and therefore the only possibility remains war. Multinationals provide the means to fight this war, very often of both sides, making huge gains. Western countries find themselves fighting wars with latest generation weapons, while the military weaker foreign states have to fight wars with now obsolete armaments that have no hope against Western weapons. Let's take healthcare. The pharmaceutical multinationals themselves supply the physical problem and provide a cure for the problem. So the citizen will be forced to pay for the problem and will have to pay for the treatment. There are many examples, because every allopathic drug has contraindications. This means that when we take an allopathic drug to treat a problem, there is a possibility that the same drug is causing problems in another part of our body. Up to 50 years ago, out of 10 newborns, only 2 survived. Only the physically strong survived. All the weakest children and the children with genetic problems die. This makes sure that only the healthiest people with the ability to have healthier children survive. So the human race was genetically healthier and healthier. Today, infants with genetic problems survive and have children with genetic problems themselves. So people with genetic problems continue to survive and have children. To be kept alive, these newborns and people with genetic problems need medicines and constant help from doctors and nurses, generating immense revenues for the pharmaceutical multinational. Of course, these infants and people with severe genetic problems continue to suffer throughout their lives. The speaker is not saying that people with physical problems or babies should be left to die. The speaker is just analyzing an economic system from his point of view. Let's take terrorism. There are so many multinationals and companies that deal with counter-terrorism and national security that if terrorism were to stop existing, the whole Western economy, it would go into crisis. After September 11, 2001 attacks, whenever a terrorist attack has occurred, the New York Stock Exchange has gained. This is because so many multinationals and companies depend on terrorism. The fight against terrorism has become an immense source of income for many multinationals and companies. The leading multinationals in this market are the Israeli multinationals due to their experience in the fight against terrorism. This system of creating the problem and giving the solution affects all sectors of our economy. The problem is created a few years before and the solution is given a few years later, so it is not easy to notice. But if you are careful, you will find that this system is everywhere, even when we wash the dishes. We have to pay for the detergent pollutes and we have to pay for water purification to avoid pollution. The point is, it will not be enough to use natural detergents dare to not pollute. The ecological problem that is affecting our planet has only one cause: overpopulation. Our planet can host a maximum of 1 billion people. Instead, we are more than 7 billion and constantly increasing. Overpopulation is the real problem. There are no others. As long as there are so many people on our planet, there is nothing we could do to avoid ecological damage. But no media talk about overpopulation, because our economic system is based on the continual increase of the population. So until we solve this problem, the days are numbered for man and for the planet. But neither multinational nor politicians talk about this problem, because it's the real problem. In the 70s and 80s, the problem of overpopulation was taught in schools and universities. But by the 90s, we stopped talking about it. This is because overpopulation creates disorder and politicians love disorder. The more disorder there is, the more the politicians have importance and power. It is the politicians themselves who create as much disorder as possible in our lives. Multinationals need more and more people to make more and more profit. Super rich people can get richer and richer if there are a large number of poor people under them. It takes millions of poor people to create a super rich person. The richest 1% of the world population in terms of assets held in mid-2019 more than doubled the net wealth owned by 6.9 billion people. Reversing the perspective, the share of wealth of the poorest half of humanity, about 3.8 billion people, was not even close to 1% of the entire world asset. In conclusion, 99% of the world population is just a battery that has to power the whole system. The human being has become a battery, keep alive only to power the system. The system has become more important than people. The moment we realize this, we can unite and stop being a battery and be master of our life and grow spiritually. Thank you for listening.